Jett Howard has rightfully been getting a lot of buzz early this season as a lottery pick, a really high valued draft guy, and it's easy to see why. On the surface, he profiles as a really impressive off-ball shooter, can score off that in a variety of ways. Really difficult to guard him in any kind of off-screen situation because of how dynamic of a shooter is and how he can kind of shoot over contests. Look how quickly he squares himself to the basket. It's hard to go right as a right-handed shooter because you have to turn in the air a little bit. Jett squares, fires over a contest. That's money. Jett, is just a guy who you cannot leave open at all. He is a knockdown catch and shoot 3-point shooter, whether it's off movement, off a flare screen, or just a simple catch and shoot. And when Jett gets you worried about that, he will draw hard closeouts, and he can punish those with sidestep threes because he is a capable off the bounce shooter. In close attack drives like this, where he's able to get straight. Again, these defenders are going to be all up in his airspace. Look how close this defender gets because of how threatening Jett is as a shooter. So Jett's able to use his off arm and his strength to get to the rim and finish with the and one as well there. There's even some passing stuff as well, where Jett makes these simple dribble handoff passes for an and one there. Watch how tightly this defender is sticking Jett the whole way. You cannot give him any leeway around screens or he is going to burn you. But when that happens, that leaves you vulnerable to drives. And Jett has the passing vision in these situations. The off-ball movement got him downhill. There's basically a one-on-one here, and Jett picks right, makes the easy bounce pass, and his teammate gets an open layup. But that's just the surface of what Jett Howard can do. And what makes him, in my opinion, a guy who is absolutely worthy of a potential top 10 or more pick is the real creation ceiling. As it's not just his off-ball shooting and movement and passing. He's a real on-ball threat and has really impressive on-ball tools as a scorer and a creator. He is 6'7", looks every bit of it. He's really fast. It is difficult to stay in front of Jett off of the dribble. Guys, even like I said, they play way up on him because he is such a shooting threat. And then he just blows right by them from a standstill. No crossover there, nothing special. Standstill blow by into a floater. Your 6'7" freshman off-ball wing shooter. Early offense as well, he's just devastating. Again, we're going to notice that off-arm swipe, which Jett is pretty good at. His scoring craft is pretty impressive for a guy of his role. And when the defense isn't set up, they can flow into an early pick and roll. And Jett is just going to scream right to the rim and draw a foul. There's not much you can do that. And then when you combine this with his handling prowess, which is really the thing that puts it all together. Man, he is a ridiculously smooth and comfortable handler for somebody of his size and age and shooting skill, all of that. These east-west kind of moves are Jett's best handling stuff at the moment, where he's able to use a little change of pace here. He goes from fast to slow to fast, and then is able to blow right by this defender. Again, we look at that off-arm usage there, fiending off this defender's arm so we can get right into an open layup that he ends up missing. But Jett has been awesome this year finishing at the rim. And the creation there is quite impressive. Jett loves these little hang dribbles. As I mentioned, that speed is such a threat, and a little hesitation is all he needs. This could be setting up into a pull-up three, and the defender is scared of that, so he has to stay disciplined. He has to stay tight, and then Jett can just blow right by and finish softly for the and one. He is such a monster working off these simple hesitations. He doesn't need advanced change of pace or crazy combos or a super tight handle to make this work because of how threatening of a shooter he is. There are flashes of some more advanced kind of open layup. Now, he's not creating a ton of separation on these different moves that aren't just hangs or simple crossovers. As we see, even like after the spin, this is still like a fairly tight shot, but because of Jett's length and his touch and his stride length, it ends up looking really easy and going in. But I love his willingness as, an 18, 19-year-old 6'7" freshman wing attacker, being willing to try and use these different dribble combo moves, and the fact that he has such a diverse scoring toolkit already is a really, really great indicator for where Jett could go and for the kind of things that he could do. I think this clip is another good example of the east-west separation, where Jett isn't always the best going to straight north-south when he's in his dribble combos. Look how quick he's able to separate with these little hesitation dribbles. We have hang, cross, hang again, and now Jett has a pretty easy window to the rim, but he stops here. He's spooked by the help, it seems, and this advantage ends up getting given up. But Jett's ability to use these kind of size up hang crosses combined with his speed to get this separation is really, really impressive to me. And there just aren't a lot of players who have been able to do the things that Jett can do as a scorer. If we're going to set a couple benchmarks, 10 threes per 100, free throw rate at 30, just to filter out guys who aren't really getting to the rim at all, and then far twos more than 60, just to filter out guys who aren't scoring in the intermediate. Jett is on pace to easily beat this, and Jett's numbers are higher than this, and it's a really interesting group of guys. You have quite a few impressive guys. Trae Young, of course, stands out. D'Lo, Anthony Edwards, Keontae George, another freshman who I like a lot, is on this list. Obviously, plenty of players who didn't work out, and these are all freshmen, as if I didn't mention, because that age is a really important component of his upside. Ben Mathurin, who's been awesome this year. But if you look at a lot of these guys, the majority of them, whether or not they worked out, are like under 6'5". And if we look at the guys, like Ant Edwards is 6'5", Mathurin 6'6", Jabari is 6'10", definitely the biggest guy on here. And I think his free throw rate, if anything, was more indicative of his awesome ability to draw shooting fouls, rather than like his ability to get to the rim. So Jett is really unique, given his size, age, and all the diverse ways he can score. It's a really, really great profile. And I think there's a lot of creation upside, as well as having the off-ball skill to fit seamlessly into offense. Early in his career, when he isn't going to be getting a ton of on-ball reps, he can go off screens and shoot and cut and all that good stuff. The on-ball passing is a little more simple than the off-ball passing, as I showed the play before, where Jett was able to thread a nice little pocket pass coming off the screen. But when he's like in more static situations, there is some simple pick and roll stuff. Again, same side, kind of 1v1 pick and roll, where Jett is simply attacking. There isn't really any pace here. It's just a wide open window, and Jett's able to make the pass. And there's a lot of simple drive and kick stuff where he's just collapsing the defense a little bit and kicking out. But when Jett is put in some more complex situations, he often struggles, and he often struggles seeing where the good pass is. A lot of his reads feel pretty premeditated. It looks like he was always going to pass here to his roll man, no matter what the defense gave him. The little like floater didn't help him at all, but there's a bunch of help in this general vicinity, and it doesn't really look like Jett is reading before he makes this pass, and obviously that leads to a pretty bad turnover. And when he's asked to run these static pick and rolls a lot of the time, he doesn't really have the poise at the moment to beat this kind of pressure, where there isn't an easy passing window here. A great passer would be able to thread this kind of bounce pass, or even be able to hit the tiny window right here. And because Jett is not good at things like pacing yet, or he'd ideally you'd slow down here to allow your roller to kind of get in front of you. Jett's kind of just running into the corner, ends up, I think, getting fouled, turning the ball over. But point being, the pressure is a bit of an issue for him, as he's still learning how to be a pick and roll handler, an on-ball creator. I think it's really interesting to watch him like open passing windows. We see players, I talked about this plenty on the channel, like open passing windows, with their eyes and manipulation, or with their body language. But Jett does it with his handling. Like he's sizing up his defender, and then fakes a shot here. This looks like a pull-up three, or like he's, stepping into a side step three, which means this defender isn't guarding a pass, and Jett can enter into the post that way, which is kind of a cool, unique little quirk of his. But even though these are, still improvement areas, I love that Jett is getting these reps and Michigan is giving him the chance to learn and grow. As someone so young and so good, the fact that he's getting, the green light to try these passes, to make these mistakes, and to still get to play and work through them is really, really great. I think Jett is someone who offensively is, a potential star for sure. Defensively, there are definitely questions, which, is a topic for a different day. But if we're talking about offensive projection, there isn't really much easier than your very large shooting wing with real creation chops and some passing ability at a young age. It's a special combination, and I think there's a really good chance we see Jett Howard go too low in the upcoming 2023 draft, no matter where it ends up being.